Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the cricket happenings and welcome to the semi-final report on the match between West Indies and Australia. Well, let me tell you something. Now West Indies actually came into their own today. You have seen in the West Indies in this particular World Cup, I was telling that they have not been living to their top billing. But today what they did, they put everything to rest and crushed Australia by a margin of 74 runs. Due to some superb batting from the West Indies batsmen first up. Now what had happened is, it rained sixes here at the Premadasa Stadium. What West Indies played, West Indies came into their own, they played their own brand of cricket where they like to hit the ball, and I was really seeing some calypso magic there with 14 sixes being hit. In fact, if you see the number of sixes, the sixes are more than the number of boundaries. The boundaries that were hit were 13, but there were 14 sixes. So just imagine this, it was simply carnage there, and West Indies went on to a score of 205 for 4, and it was always going to be difficult, leave alone Australia, any team. But the way Australia succumbed, I'll talk about. But looking at the West Indies innings, today Johnson Charles, it was Darren Sammy, the captain, who won the toss and chose to bat. Charles, well, he was the first victim. He was caught behind the bowling of Mitchell Starc for 10, and that was 16 for 1. Chris Gayle was joined by Marlon Samuels, and Chris Gayle, well, he took his time, as he normally does now. We have seen in the IPL, that's what he does. He just takes his time and then slowly starts exploding, and that's what he did. And it was some controlled aggression today from Chris Gayle, along with Marlon Samuels. Marlon Samuels also hit some. Everybody was so determined, and other than Charles, who got only 2 boundaries, it was everyone who were hitting sixes. And Chris Gayle was pretty severe on everything. He was severe on Watson. He sent Patrick Cummins for sixes. Xavier Doherty was absolutely taken to the cleaners today by the West Indies batsmen, especially Gayle and Kieron Pollard. And Xavier Doherty's 3 overs cost him 48 runs and 1 wicket. Marlon Samuels, he was simply superb. He played a very good knock of 26 of 20 balls with 2 fours and 2 sixes, and he was clean bowled by Cummins for 26. And that was the time the score was 57 for 2 when Samuels departed. Today, Dwayne Bravo, his brother, was preferred in place of Darren Bravo, and Dwayne Bravo definitely made it count. In fact, he took his time. He was really a very able foil to Chris Gayle, who at the other end was smashing sixes at will there. And he was also really severe against all the bowlers, and what power he was generating. We can just say that Chris Gayle is the most dangerous player in 2020 cricket today in the world. What a beautiful performance from him. In fact, he had an unbeaten 75 runs to his name of 41 balls with 5 fours and 6 sixes clobbered over the ropes. And Dwayne Bravo, well, he contributed his might there by contributing 37 of 31 balls, 1 4 and 3 sixes. And you know, Dwayne Bravo, he likes to hit the ball straight, and that's what he did best. And Dwayne Bravo also played beautifully. But Kieron Pollard, we were all talking about Kieron Pollard not getting into form. What a time for Kieron Pollard to run into form. And Kieron Pollard came in and he smashed 3 sixes in a single over. That is the last over, which was bowled by Xavier Doherty, which was a real surprise. I thought there was a captaincy error on the part of George Bailey to give the ball to Xavier Doherty, and Xavier Doherty was absolutely cleaned up. In fact, he was totally sent to the cleaners, especially by Kieron Pollard with 3 sixes. Chris Gayle also joined in the fun, and I can say that the West Indies calypso magic was absolutely evident today. And what a score it was. The first time in this 2020 World Cup 2012, a team has surpassed the 200 run mark, and West Indies made 205 for 4. What an effort from them. Kieron Pollard coming into form at the right time, not out for 38 of 15 balls with 3 fours and 3 sixes, the last ball of the 20th over. But Chris Gayle was there unconquered on 75 not out of just 41 deliveries, 5 fours and 6 sixes. And it was always there. As far as Chris Gayle is there, this West Indies team had the oomph to go ahead. And well, even if you see, they still had Andre Russell, Darren Sammy yet to come, who can hit some big sixes. They are also some very big hitters. But the way West Indies did it today, oh, one has to really admire them for their batting. And what a time for them to really come into form. And let me tell you, if this is going, I mean, if West Indies now will be more motivated, they would like to win the cup. Sri Lanka, the whole Sri Lanka would like to give the cup to their home team, and we are going to have a great contest, according to me, on Sunday between West Indies and Sri Lanka in the finals. Now look at the bowling figures. Mitchell, in fact, the West Indies also put a lot of pressure on the Australian bowling. They were bowling some wides. The wicketkeeper was leaving some byes, and then we had the Hussey brothers fumbling in the field, leaving boundaries through them, and that was really Australia put under the pump today. They were really under great pressure, and always they were going to be under pressure with a score of 205 runs being put by West Indies. Look at the bowling figures. Mitchell Starc, 4 overs, 1 for 32. Shane Watson, 4 overs, none for 35. Patrick Cummins, 4 overs, 36 runs on 2 wickets. Xavier Doherty, as I said, he was thrashed all round the park. 3 overs, no more than 1 for 48. 3 overs, none for 21 for Brad Hogg. And David Hussey bowled 2 overs for 22 runs, who was brought into the team today. Brought into the team today. Now, 205 for 4 was always going to be a very tough task. And what a way for West Indies. Absolutely, in the semi-finals, they came in and made 205. They made up for all the talk that was going on. And well, I definitely said that West Indies would be firm favourites I was telling that they are real contenders, and I have been proved right. West Indies and Sri Lanka are into the final. As far as Australia were concerned, they were always going to be under pressure with Sunil Narine. But what happened was, it was Samuel Badri, the right arm leggy, who struck big. In fact, he struck 2 blows to Australia. First, he had David Warner, who first to go. With a weight of 205 runs, it was always going to be, it's a big run rate. As you know, they had to chase a run rate of 10.25 runs per over, and it is a very difficult thing in 2020 cricket, and Australia definitely learnt it the hard way. In fact, Australia, they lost David Warner early on the first over itself. Samuel Badri was given the ball, and Samuel Badri actually had David Warner clean bowled of the final delivery of the first over, and he was gone, clean bowled by Badri for 1. And the next to go was Michael Hussey. In fact, no, it was Shane Watson. In fact, Michael Hussey was the next to go. He contributed 18 of 12 balls with 3 fours, and Samuels had him caught and bowled for 18. Shane Watson was a victim of Badri. Samuel Badri got the ball to go into the stumps of Shane Watson, and Badri claimed the openers, and that was a very vital scalp. And Michael Hussey was also sent to the pavilion, so probably, I would say West Indies had done half the job there by taking 3 quick wickets. After that was Cameron White, joined in by George Bailey. Cameron White also departed. Rampal actually had him, as Cameron White was caught behind with the bowling of Rampal for 5 of 6 balls, and Australia under severe pressure at 42 for 4 in the 7th over, because it is a very big thing whether to go for runs or keep the wickets intact. And then it was David Hussey along with Bailey. Bailey could not get any support, and Bailey decided that attack is the best form of defense. It was good to see. Normally George Bailey is a very defensive player, but what one could see today was George Bailey was a very determined person. He really took the attack to the rivals' camp by caning a lot of bowlers. In fact, Samuel Badri was hit for 6s. He hit Andre Russell for 2 6s in a single over, and he was looking very good. In fact, George Bailey was the highest scorer in a losing cause, but definitely he played very well. He made 63 runs of just 29 deliveries, 6 fours and 4 6s. He was the highest scorer, and no other batsman could really support him. David Hussey was caught and bowled Rampal for a duck, so David Hussey playing this match couldn't really make it count. Matthew Wade, it was a very good captaincy on the part of Darren Sammy, the West Indies captain. He had seen that he had not brought Sunil Narine till such time Matthew Wade came. When Matthew Wade came immediately, he decided not to give the 4th over to Samuel Badri, and in fact tossed the ball to Sunil Narine, because Sunil Narine has had the better of Matthew Wade in the series between West Indies and Australia, and that's what really helped. That was good captaincy. Matthew Wade went for the sweep shot, top edged the ball. Samuel Badri was the catcher, Narine was the bowler, so Narine had that wicket of Matthew Wade for 1 of 5 balls, and that made the score 43 for 6, and Australia were really slipping, and it was all over for Australia there, because they had already lost 43 for 6, and Bailey, as I said, that was the time Bailey decided that now is the time to really go after the bowlers, because he was just hitting at everything, and he contributed 63 runs of 29 balls, 6 fours and 4 6s. Probably if someone could have stayed with Bailey, they could have really made the fist of it, but unfortunately no one could. And then that partnership, which went on to 111 with the lion's share going to Bailey, with Patrick Cummins contributing 13 of 15 balls, 1-4. That was ended at Nelson on 111 when Kieron Pollard came in and captured 2 wickets, and that was writing was on the wall. George Bailey was caught Russell bowled Pollard for 63. Patrick Cummins was caught Charles bowled Pollard for 13, and that makes it 111 for 8. And after that, Australia succumbed to 131 all out with Mitchell Starc clean bowled by Rampal for 2. Bowled well today. Rampal was very, very good with his bowling. He had 3 for 16 of his 3.4 overs. Mitchell Starc was gone. Brad Hogg was also out for 7. He was stumped by Ramadhin of Narine, and Doherty was not out on 9. But it was all over for Australia. They were out of the 2020 World Cup, with West Indies sending Australia packing, and West Indies marching into the finals of the 2020 World Cup 2012 against Sri Lanka. So 131 all out Australia, losing this match by a huge margin of 74 runs. And for West Indies, Samuel Badri, as I said, he took the vital scalp of the openers, 4 overs no more than 2 for 27. Marlon Samuels was very good with his bowling, 1 for 26. Rampal was excellent, 3 for 16. Sunil Narine, well, he did his job, 3 overs no more than 17 runs and 2 wickets. Andre Russell, 1 over for 25. That was the time George Bailey really went after Andre Russell and deposited him over the ropes 3 times. Darren Sammy 1 over for 11, and Kieron Pollard bowled 1 over in which he gave away 6 runs, but took those 2 wickets, but it was a very big wicket that he took of the George Bailey, the Australian captain, who was looking a bit menacing. But never there was a chance that Australia would be reaching that score of 205. And one can really admire this West Indies batting. The West Indies batting was really good to see. What a purpose with what they batted, the aggression that they bring in, and if they could show the same aggression against Sri Lanka, I'm telling you, dear fans, friends and subscribers, we are going to have a real game on hand here. Sri Lanka is not going to have it easy, because if that man Chris Gayle is going to stick there, then Sri Lanka better watch out. I know they are host Sri Lanka, host Sri Lanka would know their home conditions better, they know what, but let me tell you, if this man Chris Gayle is going to stay at the crease, this is what it does. When Chris Gayle stays at the crease, it really gives the luxury for all the other batsmen to go for the strokes, and that's what precisely happened. If you look at the card, Chris Gayle was there, Marlon Samuels benefited, Dwayne Bravo benefited, Kieron Pollard benefited. Kieron Pollard, in fact, got himself into form, because with the confidence with which he was hitting those sixes. And let me tell you, it is the right time that West Indies are blending as a unit and really coming into full force. And well, if this Gayle force is going to stay, and Gayle force is going to really add up to the West Indies force, then I think Sri Lanka are the ones to worry about. But well, I think we are going to have a very good contest. It is something which we can't really predict. It would be a very tight contest according to me, because with Sri Lanka, as you know, they are also a very good team. They are hosts. They would be just wanting to lift the 2020 World Cup 2012, which will be doing for the first time, because, and that too in front of a home crowd, that would be a great feeling. And I'm sure all the Sri Lankan supporters and fans would be rooting for them. But West Indies, let me tell you, they are not short of supporters, because everyone likes aggression, and the 2020 cricket brings the right aggression in these West Indians. The Calypso magic, whether the Calypso magic can once again come to the fore and sink the Sri Lankans in their home territory, that's what remains to be seen. But we are looking out for a great contest on Sunday in the finals of the 2020 World Cup 2012 between Sri Lanka and West Indies. That ends my cricket report for the day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.